When I moved into this house, I thought I'd finally found a safe place to heal after years of dealing with mold and indoor air quality issues. But my health started to spiral again: weight loss, digestive issues, and dizziness, and I couldn't figure out why. I have tested, cleaned, and inspected every corner of this place, and the results have been unsettling. In this video, I'll share what I've uncovered so far, the challenges of living in a rental, and how I'm trying to solve some strange challenges to make this space work for my health. As you may know, I became interested in indoor air quality and mold when I developed some uncomfortable chronic symptoms: full body eczema, constant nasal allergies, digestive issues and weight loss, and numerous food intolerances. These symptoms got much worse after I moved into a home that had had a massive long-term hidden sewage leak. Insurance wouldn't cover the remediation, and an IEP told me I could do it myself. So I followed his advice, and I did. After remediating, my symptoms got so bad that I could barely tolerate just being in my body. And that's when Healthy Home Guide was born. I embarked on an almost frantic journey to figure out how to feel better. I not so fondly remember manically running around with a particle counter trying to figure out where the problem was coming from and why I was feeling so sick. Initially motivated by physical discomfort, I feverishly learned everything I could about indoor air quality, and I began to find deep meaning and purpose in helping others like me. I remember I was self-conscious about how sick I looked in my early videos, but I still released them because it was the only way I could turn what happened to me into something good. So I improved my home little by little, and my symptoms improved in turn. And I was finally able to eat more than just bananas. I could finally eat salt, rice, vegetables, meat, things most people take for granted. And a lot of you guys even commented that I looked healthier, which I think is the number one best compliment I could receive. By June of this year, 2024, I felt healthier than I had in a while. So my fiance Rachel and I moved across the country to Western Washington State. And that is where the challenges started creeping back in. First, it took us a really long time to find a rental without extensive visible water damage and mold. But then we finally found one, or so we thought. In the middle of August of 2024, so like 5 months ago, I moved into a very small rental home that was built in 2018, so a newer home. And my fiance and I chose it because it seemed to lack the water damage indicators like staining, bubbling, etc. that we had seen in abundance in other rentals in this area. Over the course of my time here, I've developed increasingly severe digestive issues and weight loss. I eventually also developed symptoms I hadn't ever experienced before: dizziness, fatigue, and brain fog. So naturally, I decided to test for indicators of water damage organisms like mold and bacteria. I started by doing pathways testing, a method developed by researcher, author, and IEP John Banta, whom I interviewed in this microfiber cleaning video. Pathways testing is uniquely useful because it shows you where hidden hotspots of microorganism growth are in your house and how frequently you'll have to clean those hotspots to prevent exposure. It measures levels of peptide bonds and proteins. It's great for people who can't easily remediate, like renters. I'm going to do a more detailed video about pathways in the future. John hasn't paid me to talk about it. I'm talking about it because I think it could be a lifeline for people with environmental sensitivities who are stuck in moldy homes. Let's talk about the results in my home. A more salient hotspot was right behind the toilet, which makes sense because right when I moved in, I noticed a slow leak where the toilet supply line connects to the toilet. I did quickly repair it because I'm me, but it feasibly could have gone on long before I moved in. There's also evidence of some slight separation of the top of that baseboard from the wall. It's really subtle though, and I've seen much worse. But there was more than that. So the kitchen, bathroom, and master bedroom all contained elevated results, which maybe seem to be clustered around appliances through which water moves in the kitchen and bathroom, but it's not really like a clear pattern. And anyway, these results are indicative of a home with water damage and are concerning. Another area of interest is the extremely large windows in my kitchen and living room. Window condensation is really common here in Western Washington, but I see absolutely no sign of it around these windows. possibly because they're pretty robust, new, and they're double pane. Fortunately, there are massive overhangs, legendary overhangs, you might say, shielding the windows from precipitation, so they can't be leaking. So the windows are inconclusive. Okay, what else? So this is an interesting one. I've been watching a house get built right outside of our windows since the day we moved in, from the ground up. The structural components like the framing, sheathing, subfloors, etc., have been continuously soaked and re-soaked for months, given that it lightly rains virtually every day in Western Washington for almost half the year. It's unavoidable. Outdoor surfaces never fully dry until the summer. Even the leaves are moldy. They say the state flower is mildew here, which is awesome. When I heard about that, I was like, great, I need to leave. When houses are finished, that moisture can just get sealed in. So that could have occurred with this rental, right? There could be mold in all the wall cavities that gets drawn into the living space with negative pressure. For example, when we use our kitchen exhaust hood or bathroom exhaust fan, which that fan is unfortunately programmed to run automatically throughout the day. Anytime lots of air is getting sucked out of the house, more air will rush into the house to replace it. And unless you have a dedicated makeup air system, it'll probably come through the wall cavities. Given that this space is so small, it's probably easier to depressurize it. But here's the kicker, listen to this. There is a massive gap between the baseboards and the floor, so a huge pathway for moldy dust to come in. Gravity carries water from leaks downward, right? So the most mold is typically at the bottom of the drywall. And if there's a huge gap right there through which air flows in, that's not great. What else could be causing my symptoms? Of note, there has been this like earthy, almost fecal smell in the bathroom since we moved in. It seems to be coming from the bathroom sink, possibly from buildup in the P-trap. There's also a similar odor coming from the washing machine. Is it a front loader, you ask? Of course it is. Front loaders are absolutely terrible. They should be banned. These bathroom smells are potential sources of exposure to bacterial endotoxins or exotoxins. And emerging research suggests that, like mold, a portion of the population is especially sensitive to bacteria. I'm going to discuss that in future videos. So what have I been doing about these potential issues? After testing, I began cleaning every couple days, which is a lot, because I was just feeling pretty anxious about all the elevated results. I have seen an improvement in my digestive symptoms, but I still feel dizzy sometimes and I can't seem to gain that much weight no matter how much I eat. I do weigh more than I did about a month ago though. I was actually down to 120 pounds. My friend John Banta has been really helpful and kind through this process. He's advised me to use removable tape to block that large gap between the baseboards and the floor. So I've done that. I've also put in outlet covers because that's also an infiltration route. I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I expect to be doing things like this. I mean, I know it might seem kind of crazy, but I'm just trying to feel better. I've also started to crack open a window while using the kitchen exhaust hood, so the air comes through there instead of through the wall cavities. I've also been using enzymatic drain cleaner daily in the bathroom sink to remove that bacterial odor. The odor has reduced and my symptoms have actually improved further. So then I started cleaning the washing machine. Through the process, I've had a lot of exposure and I can't seem to remove the odor. I've also had a lot of chemical exposure while using the drain cleaner. Some of my symptoms got a little worse again, and I was pretty scared by that. Some days I feel pretty okay, like today, which is why I'm recording this video. Other days I don't feel so good, but I am improving as I'm implementing these solutions. I will say the only reason why I've been able to remotely function is because I'm eating an extremely clean diet. I'm going to discuss that in future videos too. But anyway, in a wildly synchronous turn of events, my washing machine just stopped working completely yesterday. So my landlord is actually replacing it. And I don't want to say I'm happy it died, but I'm happy it died. What else have I done? I've done a million things, haven't I? I also did an ERMI dust test and am awaiting results from that. It'll identify the particular mold species in my home. It's interesting that my eczema hasn't been triggered to a significant degree like it has in the past, but my digestive issues have. I'd like to understand why. Diagnosing this home is not straightforward, especially given that it's a rental. As of yet, there are no airtight explanations for why the pathways test shows so many elevated results throughout the space. This scenario illustrates that signs of mold aren't always visible or obvious. Very fortunately, I will soon be working with a doctor who specializes in treating patients with the kind of symptoms I have. He does extensive testing of biomarkers, genetics, etc. I believe that I have chronic inflammatory response syndrome, or CIRS. I'll do future videos as I have more to share. I am going to need to continue investigating and cleaning my space, despite how sick I feel much of the time. I don't really have a choice, right? I mean, these scenarios are sometimes simple, but other times require significant tweaking in order to achieve remission of symptoms. What is truly occurring in my body could certainly be beyond my capabilities to discern by investigating my living space, but I am going to keep trying until I'm better or am forced to move out. It is possible that what's really going on with me is something completely different from what I think. And believe you me, I have a million other theories swirling around in my head: diet, supplementation, etc. I mean, what makes this process hard is that most complex illnesses are caused by a constellation of coinciding insults to the physiology, not by a single insult. I really hope we don't have to break our lease for obvious reasons. And also, like, where would we go? There is an egregious lack of safe buildings in this area and just this whole world in general. I mean, what if we went somewhere worse? We want to move to Colorado next, but I don't know if I can deal with the stress of such a huge move like right now, especially because with our anxious dog Ricky, we can't really fly. We have to drive the whole way from Western Washington to Colorado. So I probably need to try to make this place work until our lease is up in the spring. I may be forced to leave earlier than that, but I don't think that time has come yet. Until then, I choose to believe that the universe has given me this challenge to teach me how to manage living in a toxic building so I can teach that to others. I guess I'm one of the canaries in the coal mine, right? I derive a deep sense of purpose from this journey, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. I'm going to be real with you guys right now. I'm scared that I have something seriously wrong with my body that will get worse and worse until doctors can't help me, and then I'll die in significant discomfort. I'm continuing to work full time at my day job through the fear and through the pain. I'm tired of this. My resilience has been tried and tested over and over again for years. I feel like maybe I'm finally close to an answer, given that the doctor I'll be seeing is widely regarded for his extensive testing and solving of mystery illnesses like this. I have no choice but to hope and to see this whole thing as an incredible opportunity for transformation, service, and purpose. I've connected with many of you when you've reached out to me directly, and I want to say that I deeply appreciate your support. I haven't been doing that well. And when I receive your kind messages, it shows me a major bright spot in my life, that my videos have helped others find healing and relief, that my suffering isn't for nothing, that there are others out there like me who feel like they're too sensitive for this world. You guys are the most thoughtful, inquisitive, intelligent, and compassionate audience that I could ask for. So thank you.